As part of what we do with the 86 show is we want to actually educate the public about what happens with cannabis as a whole. Like now, you're on a permit holder's farm, and we can actually see what exactly is happening. Welcome to the 86 show. Today I have got a really amazing guy. I've got Mike Laws with me, and I really want to congratulate you for being one of the successful stoners that we see in society today.
Yeah, it's an odd epitaph to have to live up to, I guess, but yeah, that's the nature of the beast. We're seen as, I think general stoners are seen as mufkops and can't think and don't do much, and they're sitting on the couch and eating snacks. It's not about that in the real world. The guys who love and believe in hemp and cannabis, we're in it all in.
Okay, so I'm
education.
gonna start off. Let's give the audience out there just a very quick idea. Mike Laws is the director of one of the permit holders or license holders, whatever you really want to call it, and the company's name is Minerva.
Minerva Green.
Minerva Green. Mike, I think before we get into like the nitty gritties and stuff, because everybody out there wants to know about licenses and how they work and stuff like that, because there's still a lot of myth and surrounding them, and you get all the activists that jump up and down and get like angry, you know, about licenses. But before we do any of that, tell me, how did you get into a cannabis license?
Sure. Long story, lifelong passion, I think.
We spoke a bit beforehand, and you told me you started growing cannabis pretty young. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. As a young boy of 14,
yeah,
I was introduced to cannabis as a plant. I was quite young at the time, obviously, but I was introduced to cannabis, and since then I've had a relationship with the plant, is all I can say. I fell in love with cannabis and what it can do, and I've made it a life's passion to find out and to educate myself on it.
You haven't been involved in cannabis on this type of level before. You come from a corporate background.
Yes, yeah, I've had a 30-year career in telecoms, but it's been a passion throughout my life. So what's enabled me through many years of traveling and my corporate life, has actually enabled me to learn and to travel the world and to travel multiple countries in Africa and Europe and Amsterdam and Spain and all over the place. And I've made it my business to understand the plants, its benefits, all about it. I've done tours, I've done the CTU Master Cannabis course, so I've got that behind us as well. So I've made it a passion throughout my life to discuss the plant and to teach people as well. So for me, it's been a passion thing about from a youngster. But I wasn't able to follow that passion until it looked like the legal side was starting to shape up in South Africa, and we were changing.
Around about 2 years ago or so?
A bit longer, probably about 5 years ago. We saw the writing on the wall, and we saw what was happening and where it was positioning. I was at a point in my career where, after a 30-year career in telecoms, when I got to 50, I decided it's time to get out of this game. The shark tank was very full, and it was time to get out with still some limbs. So yeah, I've left. I sort of decided that, you know, I still do consulting in the tech space and in the telecom space, and I've had a good career at it.
Sure.
But I decided to follow my passion, and when the licensing opened up, we applied for a license, and I bought a property that out in KZN.
I'm going to stop you right there. God damn, the view sucks.
Yeah, terrible, terrible.
I don't know how you can live here. It's you know, I woke up this morning and I actually posted on the show. I was like, I woke up to this. And I just left it there because I got one or two like WhatsApps and Telegrams about half an hour after I've posted it going, God damn. Yeah.
I tell you.
And what you guys aren't seeing on camera is there's a beautiful dam down here that you're not seeing. I'll do a couple of shots just later and let you guys see. We're on 74 hectares.
74 hectares, the property. It's in a nature reserve.
In a nature reserve. It's in the Natal Midlands.
Yes, just outside Richmond.
Yeah. That's as much as we can tell anybody right now. There's security issues and stuff like that. But just outside of Richmond in Natal. And I tell you, firstly, the drive down was great. It was
beautiful surroundings.
It is a beautiful surrounding. It's a pity that we got you so late last night, but now
you can see.
I can see what we missed, and it is exceptional.
Well, I'm glad you like it. We fell in love with it when we saw the place. The universe made things work in such a way that we were able to purchase the property 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the license came through May last year, the permit, and we started operating. And since then we've been doing research on a number of different elements of the industry, or a number of different species of or strains of plant and hemp, and adapting it to specific business cases. So whereas everybody else kind of rushed off, everyone seems to have rushed off with the medical cannabis carrot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's clouded the waters.
Very much.
The personal use laws are also clouding the waters. So it gets sticky, guys. We're in a quagmire here. That's the truth of the matter. It's been a quagmire since 2018, and it's slowly clearing. But there's a lot of smog. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of miscommunication. There's a lot of nonsense, sharks, chances, all sorts out there at the moment.
Boy, don't we know them, eh? Yes,
we've met a few. Oh yes.
Hey.
Yeah, we won't go down that
road.
No. We're not going to discuss that
war
today.
Stories right now.
No. That's for another day. That's for another day. So let's suffice it to say that it's been a hell of a journey, a hell of an experience to be able to change a career in telecoms, adapt it to take all of those skills, networking ability, and all of that, and apply it to now this cannabis industry and this hemp industry, which is in the burgeoning stages and needs to be guided very well at this point, because I think the confusion is coming in very strong from various points.
It is,
and that's the issue. You've got so many different pushes towards the legalization of cannabis for varying reasons, and ultimately the failing at the moment is trying to split a single species of plant in half and say half of it is legal and half of it is not legal.
You know what, we had the conversation.
Let it all through and let's manage the outputs, guys.
We had the conversation. It's an adult show, we're going to say fuck sometimes. But we had the conversation last night, and I think it was Julian had a good chuckle about it. I said, well, you know, if we have to look at it, at the moment THC is Schedule 6.
Yes.
All right. So if you want THC as a medicine, you actually have to go to a doctor and get a script, and then go through quite an expensive little route of getting like a Section 21, and even though that's not expensive, it's a couple $100 to get it, but there is time involved, waiting and stuff and all sorts of things. But the bottom line is you still have to pay many thousands of rands for cannabis medication.
Yeah.
Okay. However,
that's not the way it needs to be. It needs to be open.
It's a Schedule 6, according to the current law. It's a Schedule 6 medication, but you can grow it in your garden. Yeah,
interesting conundrum. So we've presented ourselves,
but
with
only
a
8
lot
plants, or 6 plants or whatever. I mean,
but you're right. In theory, you're 100% correct. What a conundrum we're in. So we keep doing this. We keep saying, oh well, this is okay, but that's not, and this is okay, but that's not. We're confusing the issue by doing that. Completely. We need to allow it through and manage the output. So hemp in itself, the distinction currently, and this is where I think there's a lot of miseducation. So for us, the key for Minerva Green, and you'll see in all of our stuff that we do, for us it's about educating the public. It's about breaking those stigmas, those barriers, that demonization that's happened to cannabis and hemp over the years and been ingrained in us now. And there are various simple mechanisms we can use and certain business cases which will unlock all of that. I take hemp microgreens for an example.
No, I was gonna bring it up, but he preempted me though. Obviously, we've been chatting a bit behind camera, and guys, I mean, we have to kind of figure out how we're going to do this interview. And Mike has been, you've been so open and so amazing. Thank you so much for accepting us and hosting us the way that you have. It has been an absolute pleasure here on the farm. It really has.
I'm good.
But microgreens, like you said, is one of them. And now I don't want to get too many people excited because there's a lot of people that watch the show. Okay, but all I'm going to mention is when you have big names like Pick and Pay knocking at your door, you're doing something right, buddy. Okay,
so
it gets more. It's more, and I need to lead in from this because everybody's going, yo, look, there's the oak and he's making big money. White privilege. White.
I wish.
Aha. One of the big things that a lot of people don't get is the amount of community upliftment that a license or permit holder is obliged to do. But at the same time, it's actually more fun than anything else.
You know what? It should be an obligation.
Yes.
It should be. Because why? Because we need to educate them. We need to educate everyone.
We've been sitting today just chatting around. You've been telling me about local farmers that you've been assisting. And I'm not even talking about cannabis related stuff. Hemp, or the guy runs out of a certain feed or whatever. Hey, you're going to help him out, and vice versa. It's very much a community-driven thing. But you noted a couple of things that one or two things in the conversations that we're having, and you could see me every now and then just like writing stuff down.
Yeah.
And these are really amazing cases and things that happen. But one of them is there's a petrol attendant at the local petrol station, and on his off days he comes here.
Yeah.
Not only to work but to learn.
Yes.
Okay.
He doesn't get paid by us.
He doesn't get paid.
No.
He wants
to
learn
because he wants
how to grow cannabis correctly.
Yes.
Now in a licensed facility, I mean you're doing it properly already. So now he's really getting the information from the horse's mouth, per se.
It's a tactile experience.
Exactly.
Learning. People learn best having the experience by making it tactile. So when you allow them to touch and feel it, they learn. And there is a massive appetite. I can tell you, there is a massive appetite in the local, because they know the licenses is happening, that things are happening. They want to get involved. They want to learn. And there's nowhere for them to go right now, and it's too expensive and it's too prohibitive in terms of costs. So there's nowhere really for them to go. So things like that is all we can do at the moment to help and to get people going.
Let's talk. Okay, let's be really honest. Just South Africa's economy is taking a beating.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, down here in KZN over the last few weeks, we just took a hiding.
We drove through the town.
Yeah.
And guys, the riots. You actually have no idea when Julian, your partner, told me, listen, but you're going to drive through Richmond, but it's wrecked, because of the riots. I had a very specific sort of view in mind of what I'm going to see, and it was so much worse.
Truth, yeah.
They literally have destroyed an entire town.
It's not the only one. So
yes, there's so many.
But now let's look at all of them.
Yeah, let's look at your sort of microeconomy. Okay, just in your little microeconomy, how many people have lost their jobs now? We know hundreds.
Hundreds.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's other people that are trying to better themselves. The local matriarch, her daughter. Okay, so obviously Natal, it's more Zulu based. So
Yes.
this area
Has a matriarchal.
I don't even know what to call
Yes.
it. But and the local mama,
Gogo, yes.
Gogo, hello Gogo. Her daughter is a qualified teacher.
Yes.
Please, will you tell the audience out there what she does, because obviously she's been unable to find a job. How have you been helping the local teacher to supplement her income? And you also told me what your plans are for her in the future. Just tell me that.
She's already learnt trimming, she's learnt all elements of growing. There's a number of things that she's learning with us, and that she will continue to. But our idea at the moment is we've isolated her as one of our key people in the train the trainer process, and that's what we're helping to establish. And we're working with people like the University of Pretoria and people like that to establish courses where we can show and teach and enable these people. And she is going to be one of our first qualified trainers. That she's fluent in Zulu and English, and because she's already got formal teaching training, it helps us and assists to put together, and she will be one of the first mentors that we're working with here. So Richmond is a level 3 ward in South Africa. It's one of the poorest wards in the country. It means hullabaloo.
So there's
we have a pack of 12 dogs, by the way.
There's a whole bunch of these guys running around. I was in dog heaven when I arrived, because like I love dogs and even cats, and it was great because I was just like, ooh, puppies everywhere.
Well, we're a family business. We're a small self-funded family business. We took this on in our own right, and we've been working on multiple business cases, helping to uplift, work with the community, teach. I have other guys on the other side of the mountain who are on our licensed registered traditional healers, and they working with us as well, and they asking for genetics, and we're working with them in providing. So we have a nursery based facility at the moment in terms of hemp, and we're helping to establish that element in the industry.
I'm going to take a break here, if you don't mind.
No?
Hey, we're back. This is the 86 show. I'm with Mike Laws, who has Minerva Green. Thanks for having us. It's great. But Mike, one of the big things that I've noticed, and you'll know, I come from the activist arena. Okay, and in fact, I was probably one of the biggest protagonists at one stage, going, licenses are such bullshit. They're for rich people, and it's going to make the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and it's not inclusive, and I was using all these big words, and then I realized that, you know what, we have to look at stuff like the National Cannabis Master Plan. I mean, you've read it. When it came out, it was such exciting reading for me as well. But the bottom line is, we're in a really great position, kind of, with cannabis. If both of us look back to where the industry was in its even though it's still in its infancy, but even more in its infancy a year or two or 3 ago, things are happening.
There's lots of development. Unfortunately, it's uncoordinated effort mostly. So it's it's different groups of guys that are moving at the moment. So there are 206 licenses and permit holders issued to this point via SAPRA.
And how many are, we actually had the conversation, is 80 something that are left?
80 something that are left. And then there's the 12 big licenses, which are all the guys, medical licenses.
Yeah.
So the rest are all permits, research permits, varying degrees of permits. There was no consistency with that either. So there's so much grey in the water. It's supposedly going to be cleared in October.
Yeah.
We have hope. We have hope. We have hope.
I ran afoul of one or two people in the industry a while back. You know, I was one of the guys. Well, I was the guy that started with the hemp product, actually selling it over the counter. And you know, you were talking about inconsistencies with permits, and there was one chap that sort of jumped up that was a very loud about it and made a lot of noise, and who happened to have a permit as well. And even then I knew about the inconsistencies, because he was going, yeah, but the permits say this. And we're going, no, not at all, because it says this.
Yes.
And then we're talking to other license holders and permit holders, and they're going, yeah, but ours says this, and ours says this, and ours says this. There wasn't, it felt like to me that they weren't issuing permits on a standardized model. They were going, they were kind of looking at a case by case kind of thing and going, okay, yeah, well, you kind of qualify, so we're going to give you this permit with these exclusions. Or these inclusions.
Look, I think that they've realized that. I mean, DOH, SAPRA and them, they realized that during the process. The law also changed in the middle of after the process. So halfway through your license and your permit, they changed the law on you. So now we sit in a situation where DAF, Delrad are supposedly taking over hemp. And if it's cannabis, well, it goes through SAPRA still, but all the products from it, the separation is ridiculous, and how they're trying to separate it, and the onus of the difference between the restrictions on growing hemp and the restrictions of growing cannabis, we get.
Yeah.
We understand around the licensing and whatnot. So there's two sides to the story. There's the personal use side, which is great. Constitutional Court said that in 2018 it's legal for you to grow it at home and consume it at home.
It's a pleasure, brother.
Okay? Happiness. And we love that, and thank you guys for all that worked on that. That's part of it. But you know what, it's been a lifelong mission for me as well, and I think there's a number of people in the industry that it's been a lifelong mission for. But all of us talk, the industry is small, we all know each other by some way, shape or form, and
I mean,
look
how we met.
Absolutely.
And it I mean, I don't think that we probably would have run into each other eventually.
Yes. But circumstances brought, and that's the way
and because of the
works.
size of the industry and the small industry, because it was literally a phone call from your business partner who I've been acquainted with and friends with for a while, with Julian, and then all of a sudden we're here.
Yeah, 100%. And it shows, and you know what, the thing is that people don't see this. They don't see what individual initiatives are going on around the country. So the talk is all around the big guys who've got the money. They've got the 35 bar to drop for a GMP facility. You understand?
They've got 25 bar to drop on a machine and an extraction unit.
Exactly. So, you know, that puts it out of the league of the average guy. We're just average Joes. Yeah. I'm just a farmer on a mountain at the end of the day.
And you're a farmer on a mountain, and I'd like to put it into perspective. Guys, there is not millions of rands investment here. There is blood, sweat
and
tears.
Lots of it.
There is money that has been invested, but it has been sunken into the business, and right now it's blood, sweat and tears that is keeping this together, and it is the most amazing thing to watch, because I think everybody has a very different idea of what a licensed farm should look like and stuff like that, and I've been to a few. You know, I've been lucky enough to be to a couple of different growers. I mean, you were talking about those big pharmaceutical growers. You know, I think both of us have actually been to one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we've travelled extensively and been around and spoken to guys.
We know some people here and there that got us an invite.
Yeah, exactly.
But that facility, when you walk into that 35, 40, 50 million rand facility, fuck me, it's impressive, bro.
It is. It's
but
great.
Here's the whole thing. It is for medical use. They are growing the shit out of the plants brilliantly. Okay, they are making sure it's a perfect plant, which is never going to be smoked. It is going to end up being crushed up and extracted into oil and sold to an overseas pharmaceutical who's going to put it into a medicine and sell that medicine back to South Africa at thousands of rands a unit.
Yeah. That's why the establishment of the hemp and cannabis value chain is so important at the moment.
Tell me about that. Tell me about the value chain, baby.
So I think the value chain is currently not in place. It's still coming into place, the value chain. So I think because of the confusion around the medical cannabis carrot, CBD, extraction, all of those things for oils, the thrust of hemp and the benefits of hemp have been lost in the discussion.
Yeah.
And our focus has been about re-educating people around that and starting to establish the real business cases around hemp itself.
Okay.
As right away from a microgreen, which is a superfood, better than moringa,
yes,
all 20 amino acids, absolutely no cannabinoid profile, all below 0.00005, and it is a superfood. So eaten like that raw, it is an absolute superfood. What do we need in times of COVID and these kind of things? We need things that we can get that are natural, easily accessible, not expensive medications.
Aha. Now, you know exactly where I'm coming from because we said it last night. One of the guys that was there, I was showing him the range of Magic Dragon oils.
Yes.
And
which are phenomenal, by the way. You guys have done a great job with that. They look slick, it looks good, and the product is phenomenal. So no,
even for somebody, the guy that we gave it to is like, this shit isn't going to work.
Yeah, he's the ultimate naysayer.
And I haven't seen anybody go from like a 7 to a 2 in 10 minutes that brilliantly, because all of a sudden he stopped dead talking, which he never does.
Yeah.
And went, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is working.
Yeah.
And
ADHD, where's that squirrel?
Yeah. I actually ended up having a really great conversation. But what you said a word earlier on, accessible.
Yes.
Now the thing is, I designed those oils, as you know, and one of the things that when I still ran the business was that I really wanted to make sure that we get a CBD oil that is really top notch and top quality. You know what goes into it, so I don't have to try and win you over at all, and the company doesn't have to win people over because they know that it's really good quality stuff. It's the very best that goes into it. But I think where accessible comes in is that a CBD oil for a kid that maybe has, and I'm throwing it out there now, please don't everybody jump on me and scream and shout and stuff like that, please don't, but let's use something like ADHD. In fact, that's the adult last night that we shut up. Well, we didn't. He just became incredibly more focused, and then all of a sudden the conversation was just amazing.
Yeah.
Instead of having 15 conversations, we were having one.
Yeah.
But let's look at a kid or somebody that has an ailment or a problem that CBD can very easily overcome and fix. Okay. Let's use major retailers here as an example. I'm not trying to point out any specific person.
100%. Everyone's got their own initiatives that they're busy with, and there are multiple retail initiatives going.
Let's say you walk into a pharmacy, whichever big name brand it may be, or whatever the case may be, and you look at that shelf with the CBD oil on, and every time I walk into those guys and I look at that stuff, I want to shit my pants 3 different colors, because the pricing is stupid. It is not accessible. CBD is for like rich people.
So for us, it's about, you know what, this plant is for the benefit of us, of people, of everybody, not just the people who can afford it, the people who need it. So we give away oil, we make oil, we give it away, we don't sell it. Why?
Buddy.
Because we want to help people. So here's the thing, the current licensing is inadequate all around. It's inadequate from a number of different perspectives. It doesn't allow you to subcontract out to enable you to expand. So if you had 2 hectares to start with, that's what you've got and that's all you can do. So now you're restricted. Why? Because currently the license structure, the way it works, an ID is tied to a property, tied to a license, and there you go. And the license stipulates what you can do on that property with that license and permit. it. So there's no ability to upscale, to actually activate small farmers, each with 2 hectares, local guys.
We were talking about this earlier, where we go, okay, let's subcontract it.
Yes.
Let's say, okay, well, guys, we've got
We'll
this
provide
license.
the genetics,
we
we'll
will
provide the skills, the
but
knowledge,
we go to
the
offtake,
training.
the people that have got the offtake, and we go, okay, we'll provide everything to you.
That's it.
For the regulators, hey man, we don't have the infrastructure on our main license to actually be able to do all of this. So we need to subcontract.
And we need to partner.
We need to partner
together.
up with smaller growers, the guys, like you say, the 2 hectares, the 1 hectares, the 5 hectares, where it's almost, I don't want to say subsistence, but you're taking the guys out of subsistence farming, and you're actually giving them a crop that's going to make them money. And because it's like fiber hemp and stuff like that, it grows very differently. The times are different, so you can pop at least 2 crops a year.
Exactly, and how you grow it and how you do it. So if you're using straight up from seed, you've got a 6 to 8 month cycle.
Yes.
If you're using a mothering and cloning cycle,
sure,
you can get them out in 4 months.
So there you've got at least 3 harvests a year.
So it's all about how it's grown, where it's grown, what is grown, for what purpose.
Let me encapsulate this. But the average cannabis user, person in the cannabis community out there, believes that licenses are there to take away from them.
Mainly because it's how it's set up at the moment.
Yes,
that's why the perception
it is set up at
there.
the moment. I see the need for regulation. I think we all do.
Yeah.
But if they only realize that it is actually quite the opposite.
Yeah.
It's guys like yourself that are working your hands to the bone in the background to actually bring to market products that can actually get this industry going.
Look, this is not a new industry. We know, none of us are idiots. It's not a new industry. This has been around for thousands of years. The local farmers have subsisted all over South Africa, and this is how they've survived.
We're in the Midlands, and we're going to you're going to be taking me to a couple of places, other farmers. Other farmers. But these aren't licensed guys. These are guys that they're really in a very rural place here, and quite honestly, I'm going to use this terminology, they couldn't actually give a fuck about the law currently. They couldn't give a fuck.
They're feeding their families.
They are feeding their families. It is nothing but a cash crop to them.
That's it.
So why can't we take these guys that are sort of now kind of feeding the illicit market, okay, and plug them in?
Absolutely. What else are they sitting with? They're sitting with genetics. They're sitting with land races that we need,
that nobody has.
And we already lost Durban poison a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to continue to lose these land races unless we protect them. So that's part of it as well. But unfortunately, the licensing conversation, that cloud, is causing all the confusion. Because if you've got a hemp permit, you have to work within those confines only. And if you have a medical permit, then you have to work within those. But in terms of research, it needs to open up. And there needs to be hubs of research put together where different guys can research. We can't research everything here, but we can work with different farmers. So each one works on a specific project. This one works on a animal feed project.
That one works on that one, that one works on that one, that one works on that one.
That's it. It helps build the whole value chain. Processing becomes key. That's where everyone falls down. So now what? Now the guy grows it out. So what's happened is all of these license holders came to the end of their ground, and depending on the terms of their policy, they could either destroy or process, or destroy and process,
or distribute
or whatever the license allowed them to do. But guess what? Lots of guys are sitting now with stuff that they've had to just destroy. Or they're sitting with it they don't know what to do with, because they can't sell it, they can't process, they don't know anyone who can help them. So we get odd calls. We get calls from guys all over. And
I've got 50 kilos of boom. Can you? How do I process this stuff?
So you see, and it's difficult. So we hope for clarity come October, with at least a little more clarity to the current mud.
What's happening in October?
October, apparently the new licenses will be able to be issued. The new hemp permits and the long-term permits will then be issued out. So that's where we're hoping for some clarity. But again, DELRAD is the Department of Land, Redistribution, Agriculture, Forestry, all of that. They're part of it. They're still establishing themselves to handle it at this point in time. We had the head of KZN Agriculture up here last week, Friday, chatting to us. And, there's lots of people that want to work with us, that we are helping and that we are talking to and that we are advising wherever we can. We have lots of knowledge. I've got a lifetime experience in this plant that we're trying to push out. I've got a group of very passionate young guys. And this is not about us. This is about the new industry. It's about
We're dinosaurs, man.
We're dinosaurs, yeah. But you know what? We can help establish it right so that the youngsters who come through will actually have something to benefit from.
Look, that being said, once again, a lot of people look at cannabis permit holders, as I said earlier on, having all this huge money and stuff like that. This is a family
business.
Farm.
We've sunk everything we have together into this.
That's it.
We bought the farm. We've been held up because of licensing issues, because of government legislation issues, because of delays with COVID. I mean, we have a backpackers here, which COVID decimated for us. So we've had some interesting times. And then the latest violence, that really knocked us as well. So, we're reeling at the moment. But we're there, we're in the fight, and we go day to day, and it's one day, one step, and that's all we can do. But it's about collaborative effort. It's about a like-minded ethos, collaborative effort, the right guys working together. And for us, that's what it's about. The money will come in time, we know that, but it's not about money. It's actually about a passion to establish an industry that has the potential to turn South Africa around. One single industry.
We'll be right back right after this break. Hey Mark, thanks so much. This is your mom room.
Yes, at the moment we have a number of different hemp species that we're looking at the moment, and hemp strains.
Yeah.
For various, like I said to you, horses for courses.
Yeah.
But this is our mom room at the moment, and from this room we will develop clones, and we can cut clones of the various plants.
So it's
use
just
them to test against various business cases.
Okay, so it's literally various strains for different applications.
Yeah.
Taller, thinner ones, I'm guessing are probably going to be your more sort of fiber orientated stuff. Your shorter, bulkier ones are going to be the more sort of feedy stuff and food orientated.
That's it. So animal feeds, things like that. But fortunately, the whole plant can be used.
Sure.
So the key is that from the leaves, from the small stalks and that, they can all go into animal feed, into various applications.
Yeah.
And then the main stalks we turn into hempcrete, as you saw with the pile of stalks outside.
That's great, man.
So that's ready to be processed now and turned into hempcrete. It's about matching different strains to various business cases best suited. So for example, one of the projects we're looking at is fiber. When you look, the bast fiber comes from the outside of the core, and then the middle of the plant is your pulp, where all the pulp comes from. Because it's 85% cellulose, most of that can be turned into paper, plastic, cardboard, etc. And then your fiber, your long bast fibers on the outside, get turned into fabric textiles. So that's really what we're looking at. We're looking to establish the various business cases, but one plant can satisfy several business cases.
Sure.
So it's about how do you leverage it.
It really is a plant that can be used for pretty much anything. And we're back, finally. Okay. I think I'm going to kind of wrap things up.
Okay.
I think in summation, I'd like to say thank you so much for allowing us to come and see what you're doing here at Minerva Green, which is just really, Mark, incredible. There's some amazing stuff happening that I'm just super excited about. And secondly, I think it is really great that people are starting. You've actually shown that people, the license holders, are actually, it's in their best interest to uplift the community around them.
And work together, I think.
And work together.
It's the coordination. Look, it's very difficult to coordinate a whole bunch of people who have different agendas.
Sure.
So it's like herding cats. Sure. So that's where we are at the moment in the industry. We've got a bunch of cats running around trying to herd. So I believe firmly that like minds attract one another, and that like-minded people will coalesce, and it will enable the industry. So it's about working together. No one man can be anything in this to everyone in this industry. You play a role. So I think it's about working together. It's about finding the common ground. It's about upliftment, real upliftment, empowering people on the ground when they can go home with the satisfaction that they've done a good day's work and they've got money in their pockets and they can eat and they're healthy. That's what people need. Exactly. So employment, it's got the opportunity.
Sustainable development.
That's it. And it's about building an industry that's inclusive, that includes everyone. We don't leave anyone behind.
We actually want
bring everybody.
We actually want the guerrilla growers. We want the small time growers. We actually want to include them in this major industry.
That's it. But there's ways of finding how to do that. And that's where it'll be a bit of wriggling and a lot of wrestling with the legal authorities and whatnot, and the judiciary still need to get.
They need to catch up.
They need to catch up way up. The problem that I find, and this is the issue, is our procrastination is the best way I can put it. Our procrastination as government and as SA has let other people take the lead away from us since 2018. Sure. And if you look at how fast the other territories are moving around us, Zim, all of them, they are moving very quickly, way quicker than we are. And things are up and running and people are going and investment is flowing. The reason that we got stop-start investment's not flowing is because the message is not clear. The message is so garbled at the moment, people don't know what they're shooting at or what to invest into. So you've got crackpots running around selling wonderful concepts, but you've actually got real guys on the ground who are working hard, who are proving business cases daily that can be adapted and that will employ people and that will bring up the communities. So that's our passion. So it's really about we willing to work with any like-minded individuals.
Mike Laws, Minerva Green, it has been an absolute pleasure being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure having you guys, and we hope to have
we
you
were
much
more than 1.5 meters apart and protocol and stuff like that. Just a little bit of from Magic Dragon's side. You noted early on that you really like vanilla. Ooh. So that's the vanilla CBD oil that we'd like to give you.
Thank you very much.
Magic Dragon has also given you a little pre-rolled CBD joint over there.
Wow, guys, thank you.
Yeah, and
thank you very much.
That strain is Pheno Moon. It is absolutely exceptional.
I'll tell you later.
Yes, you will indeed.